If you're trying to text here
Hello,
in
welcome to Health Talk.
California,
I'm
you're gonna
Dr.
have a
Manning.
hard time
Research
because there's gonna be
estimates
some
that
taxation without
50% of
representation
teens
in
feel
California
addicted
if you
to
want
their
to
phone.
text.
Statistics like this may have fueled two major Apple investors to push the company to offer more flexible parental controls. Apple has since announced that it's working on new ways to protect kids from smartphone addiction.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about the whole
Joining
taxing
me now
while
to
texting?
discuss this is clinical psychologist Dr. Sanan Hafiz. So now the question is, and I said it in the intro, and I hear all these talking heads everywhere saying, well, Apple should be held accountable, right? So if a kid, God forbid, you know, they're even talking about that there's going to be increased rates of suicide. I don't believe that.
It's a dumb idea.
But
this is how conversations take place in this day and age, and it's almost like saying there should be a tax on the conversation we have.
Our historical narrative of there came a point where cigarette companies had to put a Surgeon General warning on their boxes, on their cartons, right, for children, that it may pose a hazardous risk to a person's health. So I think you can't necessarily hold a phone company responsible, but you at least have to warn of the risks. And I'll tell you what the risks are. It's not just your opinion or my opinion. There is a ton of empirical evidence, data, research coming out.
Let me know what you guys think, guys.
In boatloads of information coming out of universities showing that there is a certain clear deleterious effect, a detrimental effect to the mental health of children and adults to some degree of cell phone and tablet use. Because there's no regulation to it, it's continually, keeping you glued to the screen. And from a neurological perspective, the blue screen, activates the same neural pathways that actually disrupts your sleep-wake cycle. But they actually show, they studied 8 million teens from the 70s, 80s, 90s, the first decade of 2000s and now, and they find that teens in the current day are about 3 years behind schedule. And the author of this study was out of the University of San Diego, found that it was primarily because of this cell phone and tablet engagement being on, social media, Instagram, Facebook, what have you, Snapchat, and children don't feel the need to leave their home. When there's a snowstorm, we used to go out and want to go in the snow and have a snowball fight. These kids don't really need to do that anymore, do they?
Now, what about the parents? Shouldn't the parents play a